So, how is the Barbados related to the ocelot that was killed in Trinidad recently? So, of course, Barbados is known for its beautiful beaches and Rihanna, but Barbados is also home to the third oldest parliament in the world. And this parliament passed a law in 1662 called the Barbados Slave Codes. These slave codes, or this law, was really the first legal framework that defined African slaves as property and not people. And it also influenced the rest of the Caribbean and North America in terms of how slaves were treated. It allowed for the buying and selling of slaves, for the branding and mutilation and even punishment without any legal repercussions for the slave owners. So was my point, right? Just because something is legal doesn't make it right. To me, the slave codes are exactly like hunting laws. I mean, animals are literally seen as property. Whether it is domesticated animals like dogs or animals in the zoo, or even the animals that we use for large-scale factory farming. Like, I hate to see when people have dogs and they just tie them up 24/7, just give them the basic food and water that they need to survive. The fact that the zoo would take animals from another part of the world, fly them across the Atlantic, and then have them in a cage or behind a glass for their entire life, and then you have generations of these animals being born not knowing true freedom. If you want to talk about large-scale factory farming where animals are branded, mutilated, bred and separated from their young and used for their resources, to me it's the same level of control and abuse and exploitation that these slave owners and slave traders use. It's the same way that enslaved women were separated from their young and used as wet nurses for the slave owners' children. And don't get me wrong, I loved the zoo as a child, but the older I got and the more conscious I got about these things, is the more it didn't sit right with me that these animals should be caged for their entire lives or sit behind a glass just for our own amusement or for profit. So when an ocelot is killed in Trinidad, it's kind of no big deal, right? Because it's just an animal. And of course it's hunting season, but the ocelot's supposed to be a protected species, right? But the same way there were laws stipulating how slaves should be punished, and we have laws stipulating which animals can be hunted, you don't think that people are going to take advantage of those laws and use it to hunt without any kind of discretion? If we have hunting season for animals, we should have a hunting season for human beings too, because if you want to talk about an invasive species, I think humans are the most destructive and invasive animals on the planet right now. Obviously, we have evolved and we have a lot of human rights. The same way I think that we should evolve and upgrade the animal rights and the way we think about and treat other animals and living things in general. So what's the solution, or was my point here, right? I'm not saying that we should all become vegetarian, because to be completely transparent, I'm somebody that eats meat, right? And I did go through the thought process years ago of thinking maybe I should stop eating meat and just become vegetarian. But plants are living things as well. And I read this book a